We're here on the campus of WSSU, and we're going to be filming a documentary about how the media and hip-hop influenced the black community. I'm Devin.
I'm Jordan Jefferson.
I'm Anna. And I'm Jasmine.
Ray. Capricorn.
What's up? So, who's your favorite artist? Jay-Z. Also.
Because
yeah,
makes sense.
So, how do you feel about rap today? Like, what causes you to like rap?
Because rap makes me feel good. It has feel good music and it's relate to some of the songs, and then some of the songs are tempo, I can dance to it. And the girls like it. Whatever girls like.
It makes sense. Yeah. So, what kind of effect would you say that it has on the community? Is it your honest opinion?
The effect it has on the community, I think that it's a business and it makes a lot of money, and for some people it's an outlet to get out of bad community in terms of its influence into my lyrics.
Just overall influence.
Overall, I think that right now, I think it's a good influence because they're seeing the rappers become businesses. And some of the kids are using that as a gateway to emulate their favorite rappers, such as Jay-Z and Nelly, who have their own businesses after their rap career. So some people are just using it, okay, I'm going to get famous in the rap thing and then I'm going to own my own business as in terms of, you know, it's an interesting gateway. I chose to graduate from Winston-Salem State University.
That's good.
Okay.
Huh? Documentary for a project. Okay, we're going into the Fine Arts Building, home of all the music majors. Talk about everybody's favorite Barbie, Nicki Minaj. Alright.
I just want to know how you feel about Nicki Minaj and what kind of image you think she's giving off to the younger generation.
I personally like Nicki Minaj. I like her style for me being a major. I like a female who is also capable of rapping. It's just not in the male perspective because 99.9% all male rappers are considered to be rappers. You know, they're supposed to be rappers. But very seldom do you find a female that can rap. And what I like about Nicki Minaj is that she brings her own flavor out and she represents Young Money very well, and she's able to rap about females and about males because she's bisexual. But I don't believe in that. But the image that she's giving out to the younger people is bad. But if you know it's bad, your parents shouldn't let you listen to it anyway. Right or wrong, right? So if she doesn't put out the image that she puts out, then it's not going to be herself. The image that she puts out, I believe, is not a good example because younger kids look up to celebrities like that. And I feel that she should try to change the way and try to become more of a lady. Now I heard that on BET Late Night News that she is trying to change the way that she comes about herself and that she wants to put out a better or a positive role model in herself and in others like that. So what I'm saying is I don't think that she does put out a good example, but if she doesn't put out the example that she puts out, then she's not expressing herself. And that's what she does as an artist, just like every other artist.
So you think basically she's just expressing herself, and if she's doing that, then it shouldn't matter how it affects the younger because their parents let them watch it, or do you think it's still she should tone it down a bit?
I think she still should tone it down because it is kind of vulgar. I mean, it's degrading as a lady, and she should kind of tone it down. But you just can't all put it on her because if that's the case, then what are you saying about Waka Flocka? What are you saying about Lil Wayne? It goes for the same people. Just because she's a female, I don't think that she should be classified different as a male because she's in the same category. She's a rapper, and that's what rappers do. Now, if you don't want your children listening to it or trying to look up to her, then you need to cut it off.
Okay, we're here with Gerald. And Gerald, we just want to know, what is your opinion on hip-hop today?
Well, hip-hop today is actually not as good as it used to be back in the 90s. Like, the things they say is all about sex, drugs, stuff like that nowadays. It's not really a positive influence like it used to be.
So what do you feel we, as college students, need to do
to make it a better influence for today's younger generation?
I mean, for young, put the word out there, like school and stuff like that.
Okay, how do you feel about how hip hop influences the black community?
I mean, I feel like it influences in a lot of ways. I mean, a lot of good ways. I mean, you gotta think of, like, artists like Kanye West and, you know, Talib Kweli. You know, they influence.
But you still got to think about the people like Walker, like who talk about all that gangster shit, you know what I'm saying, killer type stuff. You know, like, so it's good, but it's bad. But, I mean, it is what it is.
Anybody else?
What type of effects do you feel it has on today's younger generation?
I think it has a bigger effect than anything else except for sports.
It's powerful.
Like they follow them more than anything else, any other role models except for athletes and stuff.
It's real powerful.
Like in what ways?
Like they want to be like them, they dress like them, they do what they rap about or sing about.
So it's kind of like negative. It's like they don't want to go to school, they want to sell drugs because they hear a rapper.
I say it's negative.
I mean, it can be though, but they don't want to go to school.
I mean, you got to depend on different artists though. Like,
Kanye says negative.
Think about the majority of what kids listen to. So, you know, so what artists do y'all listen to? I listen to everybody.
I mean, I'm more of a laid-back type person, so
I'm more into gospel. I'm not laughing.
I mean, like I said, I'm more of a laid-back person, so I listen to like Kanye West, Talib Kweli, who else? I mean, you know, J. Cole, stuff like that.
Like
Everybody, man. John Legend and Waka Flocka, I listen to
Drake, all them.
I like Lil Wayne and T.I. They won't say it, I'll say it.
I think all of them.
No, I'm for real though. I'm serious. I'm looking my problem.
Lil Wayne #1, T.I. #2. Everybody else got it.
So any more questions you have?
He say like.
How old are
His
you?
name is Blake Johnson.
27.
Okay. So what are your views of hip hop and how it affects the black community and the children of the black community?
Well, it depends. Like a lot of mainstream, like MTV kind of hip hop's not so good. Kind of has a negative stereotype. But some of the more expressive lyric stuff, a little bit better. Positive expressions of culture can have a good impact on making you feel like your culture is worthwhile, part of the mainstream. It depends on what you're looking at.
And how do you think, it affects the children, with the way it represents itself?
Again, it depends. If you're talking about some of the stuff that perpetuates violence, then you're going to have that effect. Some of it doesn't. It depends a lot on the kids too. Everybody's an individual.
All right.
Hello, sir. What's your name?
Daniel.
Hi, Daniel. Hi, Daniel. I would just like to ask you a few
What's yours?
questions. I'm Jasmine. Thank you.
Hey, Jasmine.
Hi. How would you compare hip hop now from hip hop in the 90s?
Hip hop in the 90s. Well, from what I know of hip hop in the 90s, I really wasn't too much of a hip hop fan until probably like closer parts of the late mid 90s, end of the 90s. I mean, it was far more creative. It was about probably more so about crews and different, I'm from the Bronx, I'm from, this side, this area. It was more so people were doing their own things, kind of segregated, and so it was coming off not the money wasn't there so much, so the commercial part of it wasn't completely established. But I mean, like, real early 90s, from what I know of real early 90s, I mean, it was alright, depends on what part of the country it was from too, because it could have been, on some closer to Afrocentric stuff, or it could have been on some straight up gang violence shit, so, but it was still